You know that feeling when you're talking to a total genius who also has the memory of a goldfish? That's kind of the deal with most of the powerful AIs we're using today. Well, we're about to dig into a really huge mindset shift. How to move your AI from just being a simple chatbot to being a powerful operator. Okay, let this quote sink in for a second. This right here is the whole point. The idea that the way pretty much everyone is using these incredible tools is, well, fundamentally wrong. Now, that's a bold claim, I know, and we're going to spend the next few minutes unpacking exactly why it's so true.
All right, let's get into our first section, the AI chatbot mistake. We're talking about why your super powerful AI feels clever but not dependable. Have you ever had an AI promise you the world only to completely forget what you were talking about like 2 minutes later? Yeah, we're diving right into that frustrating feeling, why it's so brilliant one moment and so fleeky the next.
And here it is. This is the root of the entire problem. It's like we've been handed the keys to a spaceship, but we're just treating it like a glorified search bar. We ask it a question, it gives us an answer. It's this simple back and forth loop that wastes almost all of its real potential.
Does this cycle look at all familiar to you? You're constantly having to repeat the context. The AI says a task is done, but where's the proof? Your automated agents kind of just drift off or stall out. It's this exact loop that leaves you thinking, man, this thing is clever, but I just can't rely on it. So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, most people are going to point you in one very specific direction. Which brings us to our next section. We're going to look at the common advice you hear everywhere, and then talk about why it's not the real fix. You've seen this everywhere, right? The whole internet is buzzing with this one idea. You just need to get better at prompt engineering. The story goes that if you can just learn to ask your questions in the absolute perfect way, all these reliability problems will just magically disappear. Yeah, but that's like trying to conduct an entire orchestra with just a tiny little baton. The real solution isn't about shouting more precise instructions at the AI. It's about building a smarter stage for it to perform on. It's not about better prompting, it's about better governance. And this idea, it leads to a total change in perspective. It's time to give our AI a serious promotion. So in this next section, we're literally going to rewrite its job description, moving it from being just a passive assistant to being a proactive operator. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the assistant. It just sits there, waiting for you to tell it what to do. It forgets stuff. Now on the right, you have the operator. It doesn't just wait. It actively observes its environment. It remembers the state of your project, and this is critical, it verifies that a job is actually done before it moves on. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do we actually build this operator? Well, that brings us right here, inside the Kairos stack. We're about to look at the architectural blueprint for a true AI operating system. And this whole system is called Kairos mode. Now, Kairos is this ancient Greek word that means the perfect, opportune moment to act. And that's exactly what this is. It's an upgrade that transforms Openclaw from a reactive assistant into an always-on operator that knows exactly when and how to act on its own. So Kairos mode is built on 4 really critical layers. First up, you've got the governor layer. Think of this as the master switch that flips the AI's default behavior from waiting for orders to actively operating. Second is the manifest layer. This is basically the AI's brain, a central file that tracks the status of absolutely everything so it never forgets. Third, the parity audit. This is the built-in fact checker. It's constantly comparing what the AI says it did with what actually happened in the real world. And finally, runtime contracts. These are like super strict, unbendable job assignments for each AI agent, complete with rules, and most importantly, a requirement to show its work. All right, so why would you go through all this trouble? Let's get to the best part, the payoff. Let's talk about what you actually get when your AI stops waiting around for your next prompt and starts actively working for you. I mean, this table lays it out perfectly. On one side, a governance system reduces all those headaches we talked about before. The constant babysitting, the agent drift, the fake completed tasks. And in return, it boosts everything we actually want. Our trust in the system, its speed, its reliability, and yeah, its ability to actually act on its own. And all of that brings us to the fundamental shift in thinking. If you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. The true power of AI isn't unlocked by making it a better conversationalist. The real value comes from making it a more effective, reliable, and trustworthy operator. So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on.
What if your AI didn't wait for you to ask? What if it was just always on, always watching your systems, prioritizing what's important, taking action, and then auditing the results, all by itself? That is the future that this operator model is shooting for.